Jiu Ji Tae is one of the most psychologically complex characters I have seen in a long time. I recently finished Fight Class 3, a manga that is centered around Jiu Ji Tae. Ji Tae is a high school who meets Maria, the deuteragonist, who convinces Ji Tae to join Fight Class 3 in order to find his sister who was kidnapped by his dad. Anyways, that's all I'm going to go into it. If you want to understand half of what I'm going to say, you're going to need knowledge of the manga. So, we see Ji Tae become mentally insane around chapter 79 when he fights Yang Wung to the death. Why was this a turning point for Ji Tae? Well, the answer is pretty complex. Firstly, we must note that Maria has been knocked unconscious by Yang Wung, so Ji Tae's pillar of strength can no longer watch him fight. We can see the obvious impacts of this as Ji Tae is immediately frightened by the fact that Maria got knocked out. This is already mentally taxing towards Ji Tae due to the fact that Maria was seen as a pillar of strength towards Jiu Ji Tae and when she got knocked out, but this is not the major issue that Ji Tae faces at this moment because now he has to fight Yang Wung. This is where we get to finally see the author's advanced knowledge in psychology. We see Ji Tae mutilate his face to stop himself from shaking. This works because the part of the brain that processes pain and the part that processes emotions are very close, so when the endogenous opioids are released, they can temporarily calm someone. In Ji Tae's case, this works perfectly and he calms down. When he calms down, at the same time his brain releases noradrenaline and adrenaline, causing the fight or flight response to be activated. He eventually loses the fight until Maria saves him, which will be useful later in the story. He then wakes up in the hospital, and this is when we see him become emotionally unstable, and I see a lot of people confused on how and why he becomes emotionally unstable here. To show the answer to this, we must first look at Ji Tae's ideology towards the people in the tunnel. Ji Tae believes that all the people in the tunnel are thugs and he despises thugs due to how his father treated him and Maria's encouragement to beat up thugs. So when Ji Tae sees Lee Hyun-gul, he acts very erratically around Hyun-gul, and even though Hyun-gul offers words of condolences and tries to soothe Ji Tae, it is to no avail. This is because Ji Tae at this point sees Hyun-gul as a weakness. Hyun-gul is asking Ji Tae to do something for him just like how he used to do a few dozen chapters back. It discussed Ji Tae not only sees Hyun-gul as trash but also has a bad self-view. Hyun-gul asks for Ji Tae's name and he answers, Uranus Wrinkles. This could just be Ji Tae being angry and shouting whatever comes to mind, but psychology insists that calling himself Uranus Wrinkles is a view that he himself is trash or weak. He then becomes very violent towards Hyun-gul and later a nurse. This is because he is trying to put on a sort of scary appearance to mask his vulnerability, because Maria taught him that being vulnerable was bad. In psychology, this is called dissociative defense, in which someone takes on another personality as an emotional barrier. As the story progresses, we see Ji Tae sitting on a bench looking at a happy family. We see him reminisce on something and almost smile. He then looks down and sees Yang Wung below him. This highlights just how traumatizing the fight with Yang Wung was for him, as he starts to have illusions leading him to even further insanity. This is where the author shows us just how fragile Jiu Ji Tae's mind actually is. While he puts on a scary appearance on the inside, he is holding years of trauma inside of him.